Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for August of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening this month for you. And by the way, Cancer, if you missed your birthday reading this year, it's not too late to benefit from a reading of your solar return birthday chart. It tells you all about the year to come and how to handle it for the best results. You'll find a link for it in the description below. Well, Juno starts the month in your sign, Cancer, right here in your first house. And this is a continuation of some of Juno's themes from last month. While Juno is traveling your first house, you might find yourself embodying this goddess archetype and playing out her themes in your own behaviors and actions. Now, she's quite the social maven. She is a networker. She is a matchmaker. She likes to show up as a partner to a partner. And so if you are in a committed relationship, you might find that this transit makes you want to be seen with your partner and seen as a good team. And then because Juno is so social, you might find yourself hosting events or, introducing friends to each other and otherwise conducting a pretty active social life. Now, Juno is going to move on into the sign of Leo on August 15th, right in the middle of the month, right about there. And there she is entering on into your second house, where she's going to be for the rest of the month and well into next month too. Now, Juno, as I said, she has to do with committed partnerships of all kinds, and that can be business partnerships or it can be personal partnerships. The second house is a house of money, possessions, things that are yours, also a house of all things practical to do with your physical self. So your life of the body, how you eat, and how you take care of your physical self. So when Juno enters this house, you might find yourself wanting to do these sorts of things and make improvements to these sorts of areas of life on a team with your partner. So it might be time to sit down with your partner and draw up a menu plan for the week that's going to work for both of your bodies to be eating the food that's optimal for you in this phase of life. It might be a really good time to sit down and look at your own finances and ask yourself how your money intersects with the money that you share with your spouse and how you're going to maintain good and healthy boundaries so that each partner can have some money that's just their own, totally aside from any monies that you pool together. Next, I want to talk about Uranus, which is traveling along through the sign of Taurus right here in one of his favorite houses to be in, which is the 11th. This is his home turf. He's very comfortable here and would really like you to have a stimulating social life while he's traveling along through the 11th house. Now, the thing is, this is a 7-year journey. Uranus spends about 7 years on average traveling through any given house. So you may be wondering why I'm telling you about this now. Like, why is it important now? Well, that's because Uranus is going retrograde at the end of the month and will be slowing down in preparation for going retrograde as the month goes along. And when Uranus goes retrograde, he takes us on an inward journey to reconsider ideas that we might have dismissed before as overly crazy. Now, Uranus is the experimenter, the rebel and revolutionary, the change maker. He likes to bring you into connection with your tribe, the people that you feel a sense of belonging with. He might cause you to feel like a misfit or uncomfortable in your social situation, like you want out of there because you're not being contextualized properly. So that can happen. And because this is a laboratory, this is an experimental zone, the 11th house is, while Uranus is here, He might want you to conduct some life experiments, to try out some new ideas, to posit a hypothesis and try it out and see whether it's a viable hypothesis or not. So the scientific method, that's what Uranus enjoys. Then we have Ceres. And Ceres is traveling along through Libra all month in your 4th house. Now, she's the goddess that rules the 2nd house, which I was talking about a moment ago when describing Juno. So she has everything to do with your life of the body and the physical world, food and money and other ways of being grounded and connected to the earth, which I mean in a good way, not like, a teenager who can't drive the car this week. But Ceres is in your 4th house, which is a great house as regards roots. So she just really likes to put down roots and make things very solid in your home life and very cozy too, or as in a new word that I learned on Ted Lasso this week, gezellig. I'm watching it in arrears. I like to watch a season after it's all come out. So Ceres in the 4th house can make things very gezellig. In other words, cozy, comfortable, with such a good feeling of warmth and connectedness, especially from her position here in Libra. So this is a really great use of Ceres here in the 4th house to just make home that much more cozy while she's here. She's going to be here until mid-September. Well, Julia, what's up for the Cancers of the world with the 3 inner planets?
Well, hey there, Cancer. We've got a lot of retrograde stuff going on this month, especially with our personal planets, the planets we use to communicate and express affection with other people, Venus and Mercury. But I'll begin with Venus, who starts the month retrograde, so she's pretty slow and backwards in the sky. And this is all happening in your 2nd house. Now, Venus represents not only our relationship, but she's also the planet of beauty. She's also the planet of pleasure too. And whenever she goes retrograde, it's a time of review, relationship review in particular. Because anytime a planet goes retrograde, we tend to have to go over and to even review the things that planet represents. So in your 2nd house, you could be reviewing your relationship in terms of money and values. So if you're currently in a relationship, you might be thinking about really practical stuff like, is your partner contributing enough money into the relationship that you do? Or have you been contributing enough money? Would you like to get a little part-time job so you can contribute more, perhaps? If you've been, let's say, raising the kids, but maybe they're in school and you're like, okay, I'd like to do a little bit more now. You could also be reviewing your relationship in terms of values. So that can be religious values, personal, political values, and really seeing whether you guys are on the same page and whether that's very important for you. Now, if you're single, you could be thinking about these things in terms of your next relationship. Maybe money didn't work out so well last time, and you're thinking to yourself, this is what's really important for me the next time around. Now, on August 13th, so mid-month, Venus is going to conjoin the sun while retrograde. We call that relationship clarity day. The sun brings brightness and clarity to things. So this will be a very important time to keep track of, because it might be one of insights and revelations and kind of like getting a little light through the fog during this retrograde season, especially where it's hitting you in your relationships. Now, Mercury doesn't start the month retrograde, but it's slowing down early in the month, and it goes retrograde on August 23rd. So this is all going on in your 3rd house. Now, Mercury and the 3rd house have a lot in common because they both represent learning, communicating, writing, and also even travel. Mercury is one of the travel planets, but it usually likes to do little quick trips like around the neighborhood or within your state, for example. So when Mercury goes retrograde in this house, Mercury retrogrades are known for having miscommunication issues, but that really is going to go double for you, Cancer, this month because of what the third house represents. And since the third house can also be your siblings and your neighbors, those could be areas that have you, where the communication just kind of starts fizzling out. But it could be in other areas of life too. But, watch, maybe with your siblings, maybe with your neighbors as well. Now, Mercury retrograde might have you sort of reviewing your neighborhood, reviewing your local community. Maybe you're looking around your neighborhood and you're like, I don't like how it's changed. I love living in this town. I don't need to make a major move, but maybe I should move apartments to a different neighborhood. Or maybe you're looking at your local community and seeing, hey, I really want to get more involved. I feel sort of isolated from my community. Or maybe you're thinking, I'm way too involved with my local community. I need to start stepping away more. But those could be areas of life that really get highlighted during this Mercury retrograde cycle. Now, finally, Mars is also going to be in the third house for most of the month. Mars is really different than either of the other planets I just mentioned. It's a planet of activity, it's a planet of drive, and also a planet of frustration too. So with Mars in the third house, also having a Mercury retrograde there at the same time, you could be a lot sharper with your words, a lot more direct in how you communicate, a lot more shoot from the hip than ask questions later. Now, since Mercury is retrograde and there is that element of perhaps miscommunication that's coming in this month, make sure you don't say anything that you can't unsay later. Because there might be just a very innocent misunderstanding happening, and you do feel very fired up with your words with Mars in the third. So again, really pause before you say something and try to see if there's a misunderstanding first before you take things too personally. This can also affect you with your siblings and neighbors, people who live near you. These could be areas that are also particularly affected by Mars in the third. Mars in the third is really great for getting a lot of writing done, but with Mercury retrograde also in this house, you might have to do a lot of editing too at the same time. Now, by August 27th, Mars enters your fourth house at the very end of the month, last few days. With Mars in the fourth, you could feel very fired up at home. Home might be an area of a lot of emotional confrontations with Mars in the fourth, whether that's with your roommates or dorm mates or your live-in partner or your children or parents, who are also very much a fourth house part of life. Mars in the fourth can also mean you get all annoyed and pissy about something that happened a long time ago. It just comes back and you're all irritated about it again. Even if you thought you had hit some closure, it just kind of comes back up again and maybe invites you to to reapproach it and kind of finally let it go after it kind of annoys you again. Mars in the fourth is fabulous for getting a lot of work done around the house. If you are working from home, if you're doing any type of work which might involve you having a home office, could be a great transit for it. Or just getting a lot of projects done around the house, which I definitely advise during this time with Mars in the fourth.
Crazy retrogrades and Mars in the fourth.
Yeah.
Hi, Jamie here. Horoscopes and moon videos are fun, but they're also really general. Did you know we run live workshops monthly and that you can get questions answered about your own chart there? This month's topic is how to get passion and commitment in one blissful package. In this workshop, you'll discover your two different types, for love and for marriage, and how to resolve them in a single, passionate, and committed relationship. If you haven't found lifelong love yet, you might want to consider attending this. This workshop is expressly for our Tier 2 Patreon subscribers. It's easy to sign up at the Patreon link in the description below. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get back to the video.
Well, I've got not 2, but 3 moons to tell you about this month, which is really a lot, beginning with a full moon in Aquarius right here in your 8th house. Now, full moons can really stir up strong emotions. This one landing in your 8th house could prove to be quite transformative. You might really go on a journey with this one, despite perhaps your best efforts to remain objective, which the moon in Aquarius certainly likes to do. But this one, we're calling it Big Egos Disrupt Group Nourishment. And it wouldn't be surprising if during this moon, especially in any group situations that might arise in one's personal life or professional life, that somebody pops up as just a very big personality. It might be you, or it might be somebody else, and it might feel like that is just really grabbing attention, sucking all the air out of the room, and that other people, are sort of forced to be an audience. And if one of those audience members is you, you might have some feelings about it during a moon like this one. But it is going to pass pretty quickly. And then mid-month on the 16th, we have this month's only new moon, which is in Leo in your second house. And new moons are really good times for planting seeds, as I've said many times before in these horoscopes. And this particular one is landing in your second house, which has to do with the practical matters of life: food, body, money, being grounded, being comfortable in your own skin, arranging to have a comfortable, even abundant existence, and, worrying less about survival, hopefully. And so this particular moon being a new moon, it's a great time for planting seeds, which can then blossom into abundance in your future and physical comfort and a great relationship with your body. So look out for those kinds of opportunities. This moon, we're calling it mending rifts, not making them. And it's a pretty complex moon, mostly harmonious, but with a bit of stress coming from a square to Uranus, which might introduce some new ideas, which could very well come from that experimental laboratory that I mentioned before, or from your social group, introducing new ideas for how you could earn money, spend money, save money, or manage your diet, or just generally, take care of your physical self and maintain your health routines. So look out for those kinds of things to be coming at you under the new moon in Leo. And then the third moon is a full moon in Pisces, happening very late in the month. And when we have two full moons inside of a given month, we call that a blue moon. The second one is called a blue moon. And there's really no significance to it. It's just kind of a cool name. And it's really a factor of months being so long that you can actually occasionally have two full moons inside of a single month. So this one is in Pisces, and it lands in your ninth house. And we're calling this one pressure to establish boundaries. And the ninth house is a house of growth and expansion. It's a house of travel and tolerance. It's about seeing life through the big picture and having a philosophy or a religious framework that helps to explain life to you. So I like to think of this as a house of resilience. A full moon landing in this house could really question your worldview in a way that might be upsetting or disturbing, or might make you feel kind of uncentered. And moon in Pisces struggles to have boundaries in the first place, but she has help from Saturn, which is very grounded and practical. And so I think that Saturn's presence with the moon can help you to find your way back to the guidelines that your ethical and moral system gives you, and can help to prevent you from being perhaps overly generous or overly compassionate, especially with people who maybe in this particular occasion don't necessarily deserve as much slack as you might want to give them. So there's going to be some balancing going on there, a little bit of a balancing act. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the seasonal change, which is where the sun, which starts out the month in Leo. In fact, I want to show you what it looks like earlier in the month when this second house of yours is so very full, because really this month it's about a shift going on where many planets are in your second house, emphasizing that arena of, physical world and pragmatic matters. and shifting ultimately over into your third house, bringing your attention to the realm of the cerebral. Wherever the sun goes, we want to shine the sunlight of our high quality attention, because it's been said that whatever you pay attention to grows. And that's true. So as long as the sun is in the second house up to August 23rd, it's really good to be paying attention to your finances and your health and your eating. But as soon as the sun hops on over into your third house, August 23rd, and for the 30 days thereafter, is a really good time to pay attention to your communication and your thoughts, to be very deliberate about your communication and very conscious about how you frame your thoughts and how you lob them over into the other guy's court, and how you receive the thoughts that other people are sending you, and so that you can, really comprehend. And this is a really great 30-day period for learning as well. So while the sun is traveling through the third house, this is a really great time for learning stuff, researching stuff, and just having every communication go as smoothly as possible.
Well, that's all for today. If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
You can find out so much more about how this month's transits affect you in very personal timing in our monthly Patreon workshops. Find the link in the description below to get started. Enjoy your summer, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.